For me, this past Labor Day was pretty much like the 60 plus others during my lifetime. Though summer would officially end towards the latter part of September, the psychological boundary had been reached. Soon would come the culmination of so many things that one comes to associate with these warmer and fun filled weeks: outdoor barbecues with friends and family, the beach, camping, al fresco dining at a favorite neighborhood restaurant, hiking, biking, or the simplicity of taking a walk and listening to the rhythmic sounds of nature. As has been my habit since retiring, I wake up early in the morning, take a mid-afternoon nap, and stay up past midnight. It's during the late hours that I often go online to see if any news items catch my eye. For the most part, it was same old, same old. The concerns about North Korea's nuclear capability, Trump still trying to get the first meaningful legislation passed during his early presidency, and the aftermath of Hurricane Harvey. I always save looking at the baseball news for last. The Cleveland Indians had won their 12th straight game. Terry Francona had been their manager since 2013, and I always feel good when things are going his way. When he was managing the Boston Red Sox, they won the World Series in 2004, the first time they had accomplished that since 1918. During the interim, they had lost four seventh and deciding games in the Fall Classic. Not only did he get rid of the monkey on their back, during 86 frustrating years it had become as large as King Kong, but Francona repeated the effort in 2007. To his misfortune, the adage that managers are hired to be fired caught up with him in 2011. The Red Sox had entered September leading their division by 1.5 games, but the team squandered any chance they had of winning another pennant by losing 22 of their last 29 games. I was still smiling at Terry's current success when I read that J.D. Martinez, an outfielder for the Arizona Diamondbacks, pummeled Dodger pitching by becoming only the 18th player in Major League history to hit 4 home runs in one game. He was a relative newcomer to the team, having been traded by the struggling Detroit Tigers in mid-July. Even though it was past midnight, that piece of news woke me up and got my attention. There's something magical that belongs to baseball and to no other sport. It possesses a timeless quality that allows for almost instant associations between recent and distant achievements. Having read about Martinez's 4 home run game, it was 1961 again and I was 12 years old. Dad was an avid baseball fan, and though the Giants had betrayed New York City by moving to San Francisco after the 1957 season, he still considered them his team. As often is the case, like father, like son. I too was a Giants fan, and like Dad, my favorite ball player was Willie Mays, the Giants center fielder. There's one game in particular that stands out in my mind, and it took place on April 30th, 1961. A few weeks earlier, a Russian cosmonaut named Yuri Gagarin became the first man to travel into outer space. 3 American astronauts, of whom one would be chosen, were preparing to follow his lead, and on May 5th, Alan Shepard would enjoy the ride of his life. 10 years from then, he would be walking on the moon. Gagarin was not as fortunate. He would die several years later when piloting a routine jet flight. Also during this time, President Kennedy was urging Americans to leave Cuba following the Bay of Pigs fiasco. The Dow Jones average was trading around 370 as compared to the current 20-plus thousand range, and the trial of Nazi war criminal Adolf Eichmann was in full swing. I was at an age governed by a preteen innocence, nurtured by an I-don't-care aloofness, and on this final April Sunday these events concerned me little. It was a beautiful day and I was looking forward to playing stickball with my friends. Whenever Dad was home and watching a ball game, he always made an attempt to tell me Willie's latest game stats as soon as he knew them. If I was playing with my friends, he was cognizant of how awkward or embarrassing it might be if he interrupted our play so that he could call me over to him and tell me something. So Dad developed his own sign language. It was easy to pick up. Sometimes he would hold up 2 fingers and make a sad sack face. That meant Willie had gone hitless in 2 times at bat. If he held up 1 finger and then 2, and then 1, that meant Willie had gotten 1 hit in 2 trips to the plate, and that the hit was a single. The best sign of all was when Dad made an arcing motion with his left hand going over his outstretched right forearm, just like a fish diving in and out of water. That meant Willie had hit a home run, Dad's pantomime indicative of a fly ball traveling over an outfield wall. On this particular Sunday, Dad had come down twice and made that home run motion. When he came down for a third time, I was holding my breath to see how he would signal me. As a frown formed on his face, I could only think that Willie had struck out, or worse still, hit into a double play. When he made that home run motion, I could have killed him for being such a tease. Wow, 3 home runs. If you were a Giants fan and living in New York, there was a perpetual debate regarding who was the better player, the Yankee center fielder Mickey Mantle or Willie Mays. One of the taunts I had to endure from Yankee fans was, did Willie ever hit 3 homers in a game? Nope, but Mickey did. Mantle had accomplished that feat in 1955, and I had no retort until now. I didn't expect Dad to come downstairs again, but he appeared one more time. I knew he couldn't be there to relay the fact that Willie had hit his 4th homer of the game. Since 1900, only 6 players in Major League history had accomplished that feat. Suddenly, a ball was hit in my direction, and Dad's news would have to wait. The ball caromed off an apartment building, nestled in a fire escape, and slowly traversed its way downward, finally landing in my cupped hands for an out. As I threw the ball to the next batter, I took a sideways glimpse to see if Dad was still there. He was. He had his hands at hip level, palms facing skyward. His shoulders were shrugged in an "I'm sorry" manner, and the expression on his face was dismal. He held this pose for probably 5 seconds, but to me it seemed like an eternity. I was thinking to myself, well, come on, Dad, give me the sign. What did he do? All of a sudden, Dad made that arcing motion and went upstairs. Did I just see what I thought I saw? 4 home runs? I couldn't contain myself. I was jumping up and down and yelling, hey guys, Willie just hit 4 homers. Did you hear me? Willie hit 4 homers today. The remaining afternoon and evening was a joyous blur. Although the weekend was coming to an end, and tomorrow was the beginning of another school week, it didn't really matter because all was right in my world. More than 50 years later, because J.D. Martinez hit 4 home runs the night before, I found myself reminiscing about that day. Baseball critics often claim that the game is too long, too slow, and as a result, too boring. To those critics, I would challenge them to find me another sport that can transport the viewer to another time, another place.